Welcome back to the Zacas system. This is our second battle report and is of course using the Zacas rules modifications for Warhammer 40k. To learn more about the Zacas system, please see our other videos, but for now, enjoy the battle report. The terrain for this battle was designed for the purpose of testing the role of choke points in the Zacas system. As you can see, only a single bridge spans the bottomless chasm separating the two landmasses. The objective of this battle is to cross the bridge and maintain as many scoring units as possible on the enemy's side of the chasm. Therefore, sandbags have been set up near the bridge where the fighting is sure to be the heaviest. To the east is my brother, the Lord Militant Lucas Alexander's Imperial Guard Regiment, and to the west is the Space Marine Army being led by myself, the Space Marine High Marshal Zachary Alexander. Both armies are using roughly the same forces as in the first battle report. For instance, my Space Marines are fielding 2 tactical squads, 2 dreadnoughts, and an assault squad. The Imperial Guard, however, have made a few modifications. The 2 primary changes are the inclusion of a heroic senior tech priest, who is marching along with my brother's stormtroopers, and the merging together of 3 Imperial Guard squads to form a large platoon. This is a modification allowed by the Zacas system. The battle started with a flurry of bolter shots streaking towards the Imperial Guard lines. Both armies began so close to each other that the action was hot and heavy right off the bat. The Space Marines' first order of business was to destroy the 30-man strong Guardsman squad blocking the end of the bridge. Normally, this wouldn't be too much of a problem, except that my brother set his Inquisitor amongst them, making them fearless. Therefore, my Marines would not be able to scatter the Guard in close combat without killing the Inquisitor first. My hope was to kill as many guards as possible using my bolters and bolt pistols, and then cherry-pick out the Inquisitor using my Assault Squad's Power Fist and my Dreadnought's Deadly Claw. The first part of the plan went well, as more than a dozen guardsmen succumbed to the bolter fire. But the rest, well... Under the Zacas system's rules, it takes a roll of 6 for an attack to strike a specific model. Well, the Dreadnought lashed out with 3 attacks, and my Assault Squad hammered with its Power Fist 4 times, and managed a single hit, and even to wound. But the Inquisitor's Rosarius saved his life, holding that Guardsman squad in place. Almost immediately, my brother managed to recover a full 12 members of that first squad. And then, now able to retaliate, my brother immediately responded by firing hundreds and hundreds of lasgun shots into my assault squad, completely blasting them apart. The loss of that squad stung pretty bad, but at least everything else was at full strength. Then, ignoring the pummeling of the Inquisitor's Demon Hammer and the relentless batterings of the Imperial Guard Commander's Power Fist, my Dreadnought shoved aside a mass of infantry and rammed its massive fist into the Inquisitor, flattening him like a pancake. Stubbornly, the Guardsman squad still refused to break, denying my Space Marines the chance to scatter them in a sweeping advance. At the end, the Imperial Guard Command Squad bravely advanced forward, still hoping to kill the Dreadnought. Enraged with the loss of their battle brothers in the assault squad, the entire Space Marine army sent a tide of bolter shells into the bridge's stubborn defenders. But still, when the last bolter shell exploded in the last guardsman's chest, 3 men stubbornly remained behind to keep my Dreadnought busy. In response, both Space Marine Dreadnoughts shredded into those last 3 men, eliminating that ridiculously stubborn squad from the game. The Dreadnoughts hurled their mangled bodies into the chasm with contempt. But all those men had sold their lives well. The Space Marine attack had been blunted, and even the Imperial Guard Command Squad managed to break away from the combat, avoiding imminent death by my Space Marine Dreadnought's fists. What followed for the Space Marines was horrendous. My brother sent as many rockets, autocannon rounds, and battle cannon shells as possible into my Dreadnoughts, destroying one and severely damaging the other. My tactical squads managed to escape unharmed, but the damage done to my Dreadnoughts left that as little consolation. Charging over the Dreadnought's ruined hulk, the closest tactical squad managed to send volleys of fire into my brother's Stormtrooper squad, which was being led by the heroic senior tech priest. That first squad managed to rack up quite a body count, but the second tactical squad had difficulty firing past the Dreadnought, killing very few enemies. At the end, the Stormtroopers had 3 members left, and the heroic senior Tech Marines leadership held the squad together, refusing to let them run away. Even the surviving Dreadnought had difficulty breaking the Guardsmen's morale. After slaughtering 2 members of this rocket team at the edge of the table, they refused to run away, denying the sweeping advance that the ancient warrior had been hoping for. My brother cheered his brave soldiers on, and soon the entire Guardsman army was cheering as well as the Stormtrooper squad recovered all of their lost members. Immediately, they forced the Space Marines back over the bridge with a withering barrage of firepower. A well-aimed rocket immobilized that last dreadnought as well, and the Leman Russ landed a shell right on top of the bridge, throwing one Marine into the chasm below. The other Marines were so stunned by the explosion that they were pinned by the awesome blast. Miraculously, the bridge didn't split in half. Hoping to silence their enemies' cheers of victory, the Space Marines sunk every last bit of firepower they could into that Stormtrooper squad again, slaying most of them. But again, their leader, the heroic senior tech priest, held them fast, refusing to let them run away. With his sensors fading in and out, the immobilized dreadnought finally managed to break his enemies, sending them fleeing from the battlefield. Unfortunately, the big war engine could no longer pursue them, leaving the Guardsmen to flee away unmolested. What followed next was a flurry of weapons fire, giant explosions, and the screams of dying men. The fate of the battle would come down to this. The only Imperial Guard unit close enough to cross the bridge before the end of the battle was the Stormtrooper squad. The heroic senior tech priest led his fully reinforced Stormtrooper squad over the bridge to clash with the Space Marine squad desperately trying to hold them back. The tactical squad lashed out, killing a few Stormtroopers, but the sergeant failed to hit the heroic tech priest with his power fist. For now, the melee was a draw. Gaining some desperately needed reinforcements, both Space Marine squads fought back with the fury of the Emperor himself. The rear tactical squad shot as many Stormtroopers as possible, but the strong carapace armor deflected most of the bolter rounds. Worse, a stray plasma round burnt the head off of a fellow Marine. The close combat fared little better. The bridge squad's power fist still couldn't connect with the tech priest, and again, neither side backed down. And then, it happened. An amazingly well-placed battle cannon round shattered the bridge tactical squad, and a fury of rockets and laser rounds smashed the survivors right off their feet. The heroic tech marine himself decapitated the last survivor, and then strode victoriously over the bridge, basking in the glory of his accomplishments. And thus it ended. My brother had repelled my Space Marine's assault, and then counterattacked to seize victory for himself. A fine game, if I do say so myself. And now, just a few final words. This game was played using the Zacas system, a set of rules modifications for Warhammer 40k specifically designed to make playing smaller games much more fun. My brother and I would encourage you to playtest the Zacas system for yourself, and even to make a battle report similar to the one you have just seen. This battle was played using 1,000 points and took little over an hour. Anyway, we hope that you've enjoyed this battle report, and we also hope that you'll watch more.